Welcome to Offset3D, the business operating system for your growing shop. In this short tutorial, we'll cover the 4 sheets you need to set up for your environment. But before you get started, take a look at the Start Here sheet. It contains information on everything in Offset3D and its purpose. Don't skip the quick tips at the bottom. They'll help you navigate Offset3D. At the bottom, you'll see 4 green tabs. These are your setup files. You will be using them as you run your business, but you have to set them up first in the order that we're going to go through them, which is materials, machines, products, and customers. Now, before we dive into populating data, it's important to know that anytime that you have a question, you can click the See Instructions button. There's one on every sheet. If you click it, it provides the instructions, and then you can hide them. Also, be aware that the white cells are for your input on every screen, while the gray cells are populated by formulas and scripts. So don't change these. Lastly, when you want to create a new row, place your cursor in the lower right-hand corner of the table and click Tab. This will create a row that's within the calculated area. If you were to place your cursor in that cell and hit Enter, you would be moved to an area outside the calculated area, and any data you entered would not be included in the automations. Okay, let's start entering your materials. In the first column, you'll see a drop-down with all of the materials commonly used in shops like yours. In the next column, you enter the color or variant. In the next, the brand. This is optional, but it can be helpful in troubleshooting quality issues down the road. Enter what you paid for the spool. Enter the spool weight when you purchased it. And then the cost per gram will automatically calculate. Enter the current stock. This is the amount of stock you have on hand today. This number will decrease as you process orders. The only time you need to touch this column again is when you replace a spool. And in that case, you would just type in the weight of the new spool. Over here, you'll see your low stock alert threshold. It's defaulting to 20%, but you can make it whatever you'd like. What it means is that when your current stock reaches 20%, in this case, of the original spool weight, that you will get an alert. This cell will turn red, and also the dashboard will show you a low inventory alert. That's everything that you need to order. The waste log is generated automatically as you process orders, and we'll be coming back to that in a different tutorial. Okay, let's move on to machines. Again, your instructions are right here in case you need them. The first thing to enter on the machine sheet is what you're paying for electricity, over here in cell P6. This number drives many of the calculations in Offset3D, including whether you're profitable or whether you're losing money, so it's important to make sure this is filled in. Column A, you enter your machine name. This is a unique individual machine in your fleet. This name will be used throughout Offset3D, so make sure it's short and descriptive. In column B, select the model of the machine. This list is populated by this list over here on the right. These are the 12 printers most popular with shops like yours. If your machine or machines are not listed here, you can either select the machine that's closest to whatever you're running, or you can add or edit your own models into this list. To do that requires making changes in several places in Offset3D. There will be a tutorial coming about that, but it isn't here yet. So If you want your models added, please email me at support@offsetos.com, and if I can add your machines, I will. In column C, you enter what you paid for your machine, and then the next two columns are automatically generated. The estimated life, which comes from the manufacturer specs, and then the hourly rate, and that is how much you're spending on electricity times the average draw, what the machine is using. Legacy utilization are the number of hours that are on your machines right now, today. These numbers will grow, and you'll see that in this column, total utilization, as you process orders. In turn, this number triggers actions over here automatically. So when there's service due or when a machine has reached end of life, you can see it alerted clearly. These are also reflected on the dashboard. Next is products. Again, a reminder, instructions are available if you need them, and you can hide them to get them out of the way. In column A, enter the name of your product. Column B offers you all of the materials you added just now on the materials sheet. Likewise, column C, machines used, is all the machines you entered on your machine sheet. Enter the time it takes to print the item, the weight of the item in terms of materials, and then the next four columns are automatically calculated. The cost of running the machine, the cost of the materials, the scrap or failure rate, which comes from the manufacturer's specs, and then all of those together create the total hard cost. This is the hard cost before any profits, labor, or overhead. Add your labor and markup to cover those things, and that brings us to your final price, which encompasses the machine cost, the material cost, the scrap and failure rate, and your labor and markup. Over here in the last column, there's a space in case you want to drop a link to a designed file or anything else, and that's strictly optional. Lastly, over here in cell 04 is your acceptable waste rate. This is used to drive several alerts throughout the rest of the file. Scrap failure rate is about your materials only, and that comes from the manufacturer. But maybe you have an acceptable waste rate because there's other things that can happen to cause waste. As you know, a design file could be designed inefficiently, or a machine that needs service could be generating unnecessary waste. But for whatever reason, you can choose your acceptable waste rate. It defaults to 5. All right, we are at the last sheet, customers. As always, you can see instructions or hide them. The first 4 columns are the contact information. Column E is the lead time, and that's the turnaround time on jobs that this customer expects from you. The terms are the turnaround on when you expect them to pay you. And then the lifetime value is how much they've spent with you over their lifetime. This number will grow as they order more from you. One thing to know is that if you want to paste your existing customers into the spreadsheet, make sure that you paste them as paste values only. That's the icon that usually has a 1, 2, 3 next to it when you click on paste. If you were just to paste it in with a straight Control V, the formatting can mess up the way this displays, and it can also break other things elsewhere in the file. Okay, so that's everything. 4 sheets. It should take you 20 to 30 minutes to set up, and then once that's done, the automations kick in. And we'll be talking about the automations in the next tutorial called Running Your Shop. See you there!